Hi, I'm Pat Moriarty from our community, the Director of Training and Development, and welcome to the top 10 tips on fundraising. Our first tip is to make sure that you ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So there's a really basic fundamental there that the more you ask, the more you receive. The one area that I'd really like to highlight in that is the whole area of bequests. Major charities in Australia receive a hell of a lot of bequests and legacies, and there's no reason why small community organisations can't do the same, but you need to plan for it. The second tip is that the more strings that you have to your bow, the better off you're going to be. So look at all of the options you've got available for funding. So donations, bequests, legacies, events, fundraisers, as simple as your sausage sizzle all the way through to a major festival or event as a fundraiser. Business opportunities, doing sandwiches, doing the local pie drive. So think of all the possible ways you've got and then look at what options are best suited for you. So plan. Our tip number 3 is that people don't give to causes, people give to people. Now, in that context, people give when someone they like and someone they trust asks them for that funding. Now, whether that's the person that continually pulls your shoulder lapel, or whether it's someone who pokes you in the ribs, or someone you really closely trust and value, the people that you get to ask for your funding should be the right people. Now, tip number 4 sounds remarkably like tip number 3, but the flow on from it's a little bit more important. So again, people don't give to causes, people give to people. And in this context, it's slightly different to number 3 because people give when they're able to identify with the recipient or the outcome of that request. So as much as you can, try and tie it to something that's tangible as an outcome that people can actually relate to. Tip number 5 is the first time is to make mistakes, the second time is to make money. So don't think that when it doesn't work, it won't work in the future. Look at why and the reasons behind it didn't work the first time, and then ask again. So it's a learning experience, it's way on the path to getting success. So just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it's going to work the second time or sometime in the future. Our tip number 6 is that magic word, saying thank you. The more you say thank you at the time, then people give you the funding, but also going back to tip number 3, tying it to that tangible outcome and then thanking them again once you're able to deliver on that outcome is going to mean you're going to have long-term supporters or donors or members. Why do I want to be a donor? Why do I want to be a member? Because it gives me some outcome at the end of the day. Do tie into it. Tip number 7 is just because they didn't give yesterday doesn't mean they won't give today. So be persistent up to a certain persistent level of 2 or 3 times. You don't want to turn people off. It's about building relationships. So don't forget to tap in your past donors, your past members and past supporters because there are opportunities there for you. It's maybe they just haven't connected with you in a certain period of time. So try and create that connection again. Tip number 8, great oaks from little acorns grow. So think about those small amounts of money that you might get from someone that may over time build into very significant pieces of funding. Don't ignore the people who only give you small amounts, and in fact try and build some strategies in. It's going to move them up that food chain. I might only give a small donation today, but if I stay connected with you, sometime in the future I might leave a bequest or legacy. So don't ignore those small little ones. Tip number 9 is to make your friends your donors and your donors your friends. So that's all about that relationship building and tying into those connections again. So don't forget anybody. Look at all the possible options you've got for funding and make them your friends. Tip number 10, I'm sorry to say it, but there's no such thing as easy money. The more you put into it, the more outcomes you're going to get. So plan for it up front, determine which strategies fit your outcomes, and then go for it. Make sure you do it. Remember tip number 1, you don't ask, you don't get.